That's me.
Just right.
Anyone seen that video before?
Yeah.
No.
I've seen different versions of it.
What? What do you guys think of it? What's your takeaway from that video?
You gotta work hard.
Don't sleep or eat.
Don't sleep, eat, no pre-game meal.
So, the next thing I have for you guys is it's a really complicated teamwork exercise. Here's what you gotta do.
That sounds complicated.
Really challenging. You pass these sheets of paper around, blank sheets of paper. You gotta fold one in half, rip it in half so you can share it. That's
That's a lot of work.
So you take half, everyone's gonna have a half sheet of paper, there's pens, there's a box of pens, pass those around as well. And what I want you to do is I want you to write down your long-term hockey goal. Okay, your long-term hockey goal, whatever that is. And I want you to write your name on it. I want you to write your name on it.
We're done.
And I want you to fold it back in half and pass it in. Got it? Yeah? Good. So, long-term hockey goal,
I'm dreaming of
Name.
this house.
it's for you, it's your goal, so no one else needs to see it. Write your name on it, write your goal, fold it in half, and pass it back. Pass it
In-house division champs.
back. That's it.
What if you can't hold paper?
Then you're cut, unfortunately.
My life goal was gone.
And the NHL. The NHL.
What if I can't write it and I lose like 2 years? No. You can't say.
5 minute time limit. 5 minute time limit.
I mean.
Okay, things in good.
Start to finish.
Wait, are we ripping it or wait? You're
Messed
smart.
up.
I look at you
Main
every
thing
day.
is
I'm
you
just
have
like,
a
how
small
smart
piece of
can I be?
paper with
I'm pretty smart actually.
You have pins.
4.0. 4.0. Yeah.
You guys can take the paper and pass it and then rip it.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We have to rip
Might be
it.
more efficient.
There's people back there to the. There's people back there to the. You do it. Here, I'm gonna put in half for you.
Does anyone not know how to like?
Long-term hockey goal, whatever that is for you.
Like,
Your goal.
like as far as you go.
The ultimate hockey goal, at the end of the day.
Do it right our name on it.
At the end of the
Your
day?
day, what's your name? At the end of, not the day. When everything's done, end of your life.
Get some.
Long-term hockey. It could be whatever, it could be playing NHL, it could be playing with my friends in Seoul,
Fourth-time grinder.
Boulder, it could be whatever you want.
Get the score.
Whatever your goal is.
Dude, Sean, you're back up in the NHL.
Fold it, and then fold it up and pass it in when you're done.
My goal is back up in in-house. My goals are to be a backup goalie so I get paid for sitting on a bench.
My goal is to play soccer.
That's hockey.
Yep.
I know, I tried to figure that out. Guys, I forgot my name.
As you're done, pass it in.
No, I
When
forgot my
you're
name.
done,
Can't remember my name.
fold it in half.
Problem.
Yes. Thank you.
That does not work.
Crank on.
Fold it in half and pass it in.
I've actually not written anything in like 3 weeks.
They're your goals.
Signature still off week.
Why were you?
Why are you signing
Would that worry
it?
you?
Because I'm sexy.
Would that worry you?
I feel like if I put NHL, I'm gonna feel like it over.
No. For college, at least. At least.
That? Okay, wrap it up.
I don't know.
10
what's right.
seconds. Long-term hockey goal. You never thought about it before?
No.
It's good. Well, it's good that
I
we're
don't
doing
really
this.
have goals. I just kind of like go on. Back up in the
Write your
house.
name, please.
Sorry,
Yes.
bud.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Thank you.
They say bud.
Yeah, I did.
You thought somebody
This guy said
older
bruh.
than you, bud.
This guy
Yeah.
said bruh.
I didn't say bro, I said bud.
You don't call somebody that's older than you, bud.
I still have no idea what to write.
You say bud. Yeah. No, say back up in in-house.
Put Chell. It's not in
The Chell.
I want to make it to Chell 15
Straight to the
game.
no.
It's like, and the last final bit for the WSL. Jacob.
No, I'm so bored, I don't know what to write.
Look at Jacob, he's all happy.
Can I like not
Crowfoot's
like,
gonna play in the
I'm
WS.
still thinking.
Off top of your head.
Take that.
What do you want? What do you want to know?
First,
High
third
school
line,
play,
center,
or what you want?
on the Valencia Flyers. He's just like, yeah, let's go, let's go. He tries to check someone falls back.
Okay, thank you.
Fourth line's
We'll
fine.
come back to that, guys. We'll come back to that a little bit later. So, next, who has been on this website before? ADMkids.com. Thank you. Okay, what is this logo stand for? What does it stand for?
American Development Model.
American Development Model. Okay. Good. What's so who put out the American Development Model?
No, let's say
Hockey.
hockey.
USA Hockey. What does USA Hockey do?
They make better players.
Something,
What is USA Hockey?
you know, it's
They
like,
train hockey.
it's like hockey inside of the United
It's
States.
the governing body of hockey in USA.
That's right. Yeah. So,
You
so
found someone on the webpage?
guys,
I'm not sure.
who has heard of the IIHF? IIHF. So there's a, right, whenever you watch a World Championship or Olympics, this symbol here, IIHF, that's International Ice Hockey Federation, their official International Ice Hockey Federation, recognized by the Olympics, okay? The IIHF has a governing body for every country that they officially recognize as the governing body for ice hockey in that country. So it's Hockey Canada, there's USA Hockey, the official governing body for hockey in the United States. Okay, they're the ones who put in the Team USA's that you watch in the Olympics or the World Championships, the World Junior teams, under 18 teams, USA Hockey puts those teams in. They also govern hockey under USA Hockey for all levels, from mites to adults in the United States. Okay? So the American Development Model, does anyone know when this was launched? The American Development Model? Yeah?
Couple years.
2012.
Close, 2011.
Oh, I was thinking 2000.
I knew it.
So 4 years ago. Okay? About almost 5 years ago. Does anyone know why it was launched? Yes.
Because not a lot of kids in America were getting to the NHL and higher than that.
Well, so somewhat. So
Higher than the NHL.
the reason,
Than the KHL.
Get more money than.
Jordan, you all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
The reason for the American Development Model is to improve American players. That's for pretty simple, to make it really simple. It's to make American players better. Because the better the American players get, the more Olympic gold medals USA Hockey is going to win, the more Olympic medals in general, the U.S. Olympic Committee, the more American-born players will make the NHL and will play for their hometown teams, which the NHL wants, because most of the teams, 24 out of 30 teams, are in the United States. Okay, so the American Development Model was launched in 2011, and who knows? Do you guys know where they got the money to launch it? Who paid for it? Yeah, in the back, the little guy in the back.
NHL.
The NHL has paid for and completely funded 100% of the program, initiating the program, okay? Which is millions and millions of dollars to do the research, hire staff, get the information out there, and implement the program. So why do you think the NHL, I kind of mentioned, why do you think the NHL would pay for USA Hockey to implement this program?
Because they want more gold medals for the US.
Yeah, and especially for the NHL, right? If I said, if you own an NHL team and it's in an American city, what do you think that's better for their fans, to have people from Sweden and Czech Republic, or to people from their hometown on the team, or the U.S.? They can market it and promote. It's going to sell more tickets. It's going to make hockey more popular here. More Olympic gold medals. It's going to make hockey more popular. It's better for the NHL. It's better for USA Hockey. So they said they wanted to make better players. So how do we do that? Before I get into that, why do you think the ADM makes for a lot of changes into youth hockey, to hockey at every level, from 8-year-olds all the way up to pros, how to develop players. It's some pretty drastic changes, and a lot of people have to change things that they're doing if they want to follow those programs. So why did they decide to make such drastic changes? And you kind of alluded to it, Alex. So I'm going to start with I'm going to help you answer those questions by starting with some quizzes. And if you've been to one of these presentations before, don't spoil it. If I asked you guys,
Who's the best player?
if I asked you international rankings, so international success, who do you think the best team, the highest ranked teams in all countries in all the world for international success in ice hockey? What's one?
Canada.
So we said Canada.
That's impressive.
What's another one, guys? What do you think would be up there?
Sweden.
Number 2.
Sweden.
Sweden.
Czech Republic.
You think Czech?
Slovakia.
Russia.
Russia.
Oh yeah, Russia.
You don't think you-
Finland.
Finland.
USA.
America.
Where do you guys think USA should go?
Six.
Third or
Six.
second.
Six.
Third, second.
Six.
So we'll do
Okay.
third, second, sixth. Okay, you said Finland too? Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to ask you, we're going to come back there and tell you the actual results. But first, I'm going to tell you, let me get my figures here. I'm going to ask you what you think, how many players, who do you think in the world has the most people playing youth hockey, so the kids playing hockey. What's your-
Canada.
who do you think's number one?
Canada.
Canada,
Sweden. They have like
They got it
8
easy
leagues.
Canada,
Russia.
Sweden,
Canada has like no population.
Russia. Who else do you guys think?
More like California.
Who else would have the most? Is this a,
Finland,
is this the
Finland,
order you want?
Finland.
USA.
Where do you think U.S. should be?
Oh, maybe like
Number of players?
fifth.
We have like the largest population in the world.
Fifth to 10?
Other than China.
USA.
USA?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mexico.
so. I'm gonna give you guys actual numbers first. Okay? So number one, most people playing youth hockey. Canada, you guys are right. Check mark. Okay? 518,000 people, kids playing hockey, youth hockey registration.
That's like the whole population.
Okay? Number two. This is wrong.
Ooh.
USA.
USA.
I called it.
America.
How many do you think it's? If Canada's 518,000, how many do you think the US?
320,000.
3,000 something.
302.
Oh, so close.
We're so
That's a big difference.
380,000.
Number three, you were right, Russia. Guess how many? 518, 302, Russia, how many?
200.
200.
200.
118,000.
It's either hockey or military.
81,000. Okay, 81,000. 302 to 81,000. Okay, Sweden is next. You're close.
400,000 Swedes.
Sweden is next.
The entire population.
And Sweden has 41,000.
Oh!
Say 400.
Okay. Finland, you had there, is next.
25,000.
And they have 39,000. Okay? So, number of players. Now I'm going to give you the actual world rankings over the last, this is around the last 10 years, actual world rankings of international success. Okay?
Canada.
Number one, you said Canada, it's actually Sweden.
What?
Since
How did that happen?
Since when?
Number two is Finland.
Like when was the last time?
What the heck is this?
When was the last time that either of them won?
This is medals in World Juniors, men's, Olympics, World Championships. Number three is Russia.
What?
Cricket rush.
It's Slovenia.
Number four is Canada.
And then number 5 is USA.
USA is like.
Number five is Czech Republic.
Are you for real?
What?
USA
Who won a silver medal in 2010?
Daniel.
1 year. Number six is USA.
Who won gold in 1980?
So, if you look at who has the most players, okay, Massachusetts has more players than the Czech Republic. Sorry, which has 22. Czech Republic 22,000. Yet Czech Republic's ahead of USA national rank. Okay, 302,000 players to 41,000 Sweden. Sweden's number one.
What about Canada? They should be strong.
Yeah, you're right.
They're
Canada also
Canadian.
has some major problems that they're trying to fix. So this is one of the reasons, this is a major reason for the launch of the ADM. They said, what are we doing wrong? There's no way that we should be able to be top two every year at every event. It's not even close to the amount of players we have to work with. We're not developing our players properly what's happening. The other thing that they looked at was top players at top levels in the world, the NHL. How many of the top 20, because we want skill players, right? We don't just want role players, guys who are going to fight and dump the puck in. Okay, how many players of the top 25 NHL scorers were American-born last year? Anyone want to guess?
One.
American-born players, top 25. 15, 1,
436.
3 or 4? 4.
2.
4. 4 out of the top 25 American-born players have scored. When you look at the population numbers, again, something is not going right. So,
Phil Kessel's in there.
Why you have so
That's right.
many?
that's right.
Why are there so many in-house medals? Like, have you
Let's
found
not worry
that?
about that right now.
In-house. Back up for in-house.
You guys good? Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Some other people that support the ADM that you can read about on the website. This staff that's the regional staff that I mentioned that the NHL supports They come out and visit us a couple times a year as a model association. Some of you guys may have met Ty Hennis or Ken Martell, who's came out before. There's some. Anyone know who Brian Burke is?
Yeah.
I know who Dan Belsma is.
Dan Bilesma.
Dan Bowser.
Says
Yeah.
ADM and its
No,
lateral
he's
development
Saber
is the
now.
best program for every single kid playing the sport, regardless of ability level. Coupled with USA Hockey's extraordinary coaching and education programs, the sport at the grassroots level has never been better in the country. Zach Parisi, Ron Wilson. Ron Wilson, we should always strive to do the right things for kids, and the American Development Model does that. I think as hockey has evolved in our country, coaches and parents have certainly tried to do the right things in regard to their development, but we haven't had a national blueprint for associations to use, something that is based on solid research until now. This is a major step forward in USA Hockey, to be commended for the leadership. So a few other things that have happened with ADM since its launch is it actually has been recognized by the U.S. Olympic Committee, and they're going to be using the science and research towards all the other sports, swimming, volleyball, basketball. So you'll start to see Nike commercials and things like that soon with the ADM logos on it. They're going to take out the hockey part, and they're going to put the Olympic rings on it there because of the science that is behind it. So what I want you to get out of today, there's a lot of information you can go into on your own. But what I want you to understand about the ADM when you leave today is three things. Number one, it's based entirely on sports science, physiology, and child development. Okay, so these are facts. They're proven facts. They're not opinions. They're not someone's breakout strategy versus someone's other strategy for hockey. These are scientific athlete development facts. Okay, and they're being applied to other sports as well. Okay, number two is that it's age-appropriate development, which means that what we do for an 8-year-old is different than what we do for a 14-year-old. 14-year-olds aren't going to be doing the same things that 25-year-old players in the NHL are going to do, because you're at different parts of your development. So what they found from the science and the research is that in order to develop the best players, you need to be doing certain things at certain times. And if you miss out on those times, then you're not going to be able to develop to your full potential. So if you just, when we started kids at 7 years old and we just do what they do in the NHL from 7 years old all the way to 25, we're not going to help them actually get there. The countries that are doing the right things, like we see over there, some of the things, they're going to be putting players in those places by the time that happens. So, number one was it's based in sports science, physiology. Number two is that it's age appropriate. And number three is that it's long-term athletic development. So it says it's an LTAD, it's long-term athletic development. The purpose of this development is to focus on these goals, the end goals. Okay, so this program is aimed at trying to help you make it to the NHL, make it to college, those things. It's not focused on what your record is this season, or which team you make, or how many goals you score when you're 12 or 15. It's focused on getting to the end. Because if you focus, you can only choose one. You can choose your long-term goal and doing everything you can towards that. If your long-term goal is to play Division I college hockey or to play in the NHL, there's a lot of people that want to do that, right? So you have to be, if you're not doing the right things, there's no way. Because other people will be. Okay, so you choose if you want, if I'm a coach, if I want short-term success, maybe there's a certain, maybe if we dump the puck in every single time, we might give up less goals. Or if I want long-term success players to accomplish these goals, in certain age groups, there's different things we need to be doing. So what were the three things that I said that I want you to take away about ADM? What are the three things? The first one was what? It's based on sports science, physiology. Second one was that it's age appropriate. Who knows the third? What's the first two words of that? The third thing. So sports based on sports science, it's age appropriate. Third thing, it's about long-term athletic development, your long-term goals. Okay? That's what I want you to take away from today. So, where did I put my marker? There it is. So the next thing I'm going to draw for you here is this is what ADM is about. You may be surprised to see me write this. And as soon as you can read this, let me know what it says.
When?
I can't.
When?
Okay, what does that mean?
When?
I don't know.
Who knows what this stands for if I do that?
WIN.
Work.
Work? Any ideas?
Work in network.
Work in notions.
What's important now? Okay? So this is what the ADM is about. It's towards winning. Of course we want to win every game we play. Of course we would love to win the championship every year. Okay? But what's important now is the way that the Wildcats, we've made a commitment to becoming a model association. They're doing what's right for long-term athletic development. So what's important now for an 8-year-old are very specific things. What's important now for a 14-year-old are very specific things. And it's our job to give everything to those players, everything they need to achieve that long-term goal and focus on those things. And not on my own goal, maybe as a coach, of just trying to win a game or something like that, at the expense of what's important for the athlete at that time in their development. Okay, so I'm going to show you another thing. You guys are going to feel like you're in school, and don't get worried here if you're not if you don't like science and stuff. But I'm going to show you another picture here. And this is something that I also want you to take away about the ADM. You don't need to know exact details, and I know it's small to see, but I'm going to explain it to you here. This is the science that I was talking about what the ADM is based on. Okay, this curve is a curve of a player's person's growth with their age. So if you notice, there's certain times in your life where you grow really fast and you don't grow for a while, and then you grow again, okay, and then at some point you stop growing, right? That's why there's different stages of development. Because based on where you are growing and when you're growing, there are certain things that your body is receptive to. So for example, when you're 8 years old, if I just made you run like sprints and laps all day, stamina is over here. I can't condition an 8-year-old. I can punish them and make them throw up and make them want to quit hockey, right? But I can't condition them. So me running them at 8 years old doesn't do anything. Okay, what an 8-year-old is receptive to at this age group is speed 1, which is short bursts, quick stops and starts, and suppleness, which is flexibility. So that's at the younger age. That's what they're receptive to. That's what we need to give them for them to develop. Which is the reason. Have you guys seen how Mike's go play cross ice now? Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
Okay, the reason for that is speed 1, because it's short stops and starts, short goes, quick reactions, more traffic, less players, that kind of thing. So that's the reason. So depending on where you are along this, determines what you should be doing in that age group. And these are called windows of trainability, which means that they are only open for a very specific time. So once you miss them, it's much harder to develop those things. So you could still develop some of these skills later on, but it's much harder. You're most receptive to those areas of training at very specific times. So it's our responsibility to give the athletes that at that moment, more than than trying to win hockey games or anything else. Okay? So what you're receptive to, 14, 15, 16, 17, I'm going to give you guys some more information on that, but we start to see speed 2, okay, which is more linear speed, fast burst, and stamina, okay, and then you start to come into strength as you get a little bit older. The ages is really more general. What I want you to also take from here is this is the growth curve. You see the peak there, it's called PHV, peak height velocity. That is the end of your growth spurt. So once you finish that growth spurt, about 6 months after that growth spurt, and some guys you'll see have it at 13 years old, and some guys have it at 17 years old, 18 years old. Okay? It's okay. It doesn't matter when that is. It's important that you're doing the right things at the right times. And I'll tell you a little bit later, there's actually a lot of research that shows that late bloomers actually end up making it farther a lot of the times. So don't worry where you are in that process. Okay? But about 6 months after that peak height velocity is when you want to really do a lot of gains in your strength training program. Start adding more weights and things like that. And we'll have all that information for you. There's a book, there's a skill book that's in the middle of the table there. We have a bunch of those in the training facility. Feel free to take one. It breaks down every age group and all the things that they need in that age group. So if you want to study on your own. Okay? Now, okay. So now some more quizzes for you. You don't like this, right? Huh? Okay. Who knows the age that a hockey player? So every sport has different ages that you peak at your development, depending on what the sport needs. Okay, so for gymnastics, How many people have seen like Olympic champions that are like 14 years old, right? In gymnastics, right? How many of you have seen 14-year-old NHL All-Stars?
Oh, yep.
Zero, right?
Me.
Jordan's in a different world. So what I wanna, the next quiz is, what age does a hockey player reach their peak development, peak potential, average? Jordan?
18.
18, Alex?
25, 26.
18, 25,
They're prime.
26, anyone else? Any guesses?
19.
19, okay. When is a player drafted in the NHL?
18.
18 years old is draft year, right? Okay. When are you drafted into major, junior, in the OHL, QMJHL?
For WHL it's 14.
Right, WHL is 14, so Western League is actually the league that would cover California. It's 14, OHL,
16.
QMJHL 16,
It's
okay,
15.
and USHL. Well, it's the year that you turn 16.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times it's 15. Okay. All right. The year that players reach their full development in hockey is 26. Okay. So how many 13-year-olds in the room? Anyone? No. 14-year-olds.
Good job, Cole.
15-year-olds. 16-year-olds. Okay.
25-year-olds.
14, 15, 16-year-olds. 17-year-olds.
40s.
So, if you're 14 and you're going to reach, you're 26 is when you reach your full potential, how many years of work do you have ahead of you?
11.
11, 12. So everyone in this room, 10, 11, 12 years ahead of you. I don't think anyone in this room, probably the max is they've even been playing hockey for maybe 10 years, maybe a little bit more, right? Probably a lot of guys, a lot less than that. So, it's a long way away. Okay, and you have a lot of work to do if your goals are big goals, like some of the ones in here. You have a lot of time to become the player that you need to be at this age. A lot of guys are becoming NHL rookies now, even closer to these ages. Okay, a lot of times guys get drafted and don't play right away because they're coming in more mature at that point. Who knows when most kids do play Division I college hockey or Division III college hockey? What age do most of those kids start at now?
20, 21.
Yeah, anyone else? Okay, because most of you, right, when you graduate, how old are you going to be when you graduate high school?
18.
17, 18? 20 now is when most players are, almost pretty much all, are going to college. Okay, for hockey. If you're going for hockey. Play hockey. Why do you think that is?
So they could finish juniors.
Right, so juniors go to what age?
20.
20, 21. Why do you think that they don't, why do you think they don't just take the best player at 18 and put him in college?
Sometimes they do.
What?
Strength.
Strength?
Because
Right.
you're not physically.
So, if they're 18, they're still 8 years away from this, right? College, you have players for 4 to 5 years, no matter what age they start at. Okay? So they're much better. They'll commit to players, have you go and play another year, another 2 years of junior in the USHL or wherever else, and then start college program, have a kid for 4 years. Now from 20 to 24, you're getting a much more developed player, right? Okay? The reason I'm telling you this, guys, is it's a really important point to understand where you are in your developmental process. Okay? And it's a long way from here. Okay? And there's very specific things. There's some other studies, I don't have the slide, USA Hockey. So all the slides and the things that I'm going over with you guys are actually presentations and slides that are given out at the national camps. They do presentations. Has anyone been to SCAHA Select Camp before, or CAHA Select Camp? So USA Hockey, yeah. USA Hockey does, in each local area, they have their local league camp. Players move on from there to the state camp, California camp. Players move on from there to the district camp. Players move on from there to the national camp. The national camp is where they look at the players who represent Team USA under 16, under 18, under 21, and things like that. Okay? In the National Development Program. Okay? So, there's a few things to realize about, and USA Hockey is aware of this. They give these presentations to these kids because they want them to be prepared. Because they know a lot of those kids at those national camps aren't going to be the ones that are going to be the best players. Their turnover, so you would think, right, the best, so it starts 2001 was the first age group this year that the national camp started at. Okay? So, and they have 2001, they have 4 years of it. So you would think that all the best players in the country, when they go that first year, you would think that they would just be coming back every year. That actually doesn't happen. 50% of those kids, half those kids don't make it back the next year, and new half kids come. Next year, half of those kids are gone, and then new half kids. Every year it changes by half. So why would that be? How could those players who are the best when they're 14, how come they're not the best at 15? What do you think what some of the reasons could be?
Because they don't continue developing, and they
Why don't
just
they continue to develop?
because
What would be some of the reasons you guys?
because they don't like train as hard, I guess. and-
Maybe they think they're good and they don't work as hard anymore, maybe? Yeah, well.
Some kids develop faster.
Right, maybe that curve, you remember that curve, maybe they grew real fast and they got bigger and stronger and faster than everyone else quickly. They went through some of their windows quicker. And then maybe other kids caught up and now they just weren't as good anymore. Right? I'm sure you've all seen players that for 1 or 2 years, they all of a sudden were just this dominant force, and 2 years later everyone else caught up and they're like, you was wondering what happened. They just grew faster. They got stronger faster. Okay? Or maybe they just stopped working as hard. Maybe they weren't a team where they didn't get to play very much or something like that, who knows. Maybe they decided they want to do something else instead, another sport or whatever, right? The other thing is the WHL, we mentioned the WHL drafts players at 14, okay? So they had another study, a slide, they had the last 10 years of the top 5 players taking the WHL draft. So these are the top 14-year-olds from the whole Western region, Canada and the US. So of this top 5 players for 10 years, 50 players, the best players in that whole region, one of them, legitimate NHL player, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, you might have heard of, okay? One other guy played like 200 games in the NHL, I never even heard of him. No one else even played more than 10 games in the NHL. Of those 50 players that were the best kids in their 14 years old. Okay? Trying to figure out who's going to be the best players at 14 years old is a complete waste of time. It's impossible. It's impossible when they're 18 to draft in the NHL. There's tons of guys that have been drafted in the NHL in the first round never even play a game in the NHL. It's impossible. Okay, they try to give their best guess. They try to evaluate the character. Is he going to work hard? Does he love the game? Is he going to keep playing? That kind of stuff, but they don't know. So what I want you to understand there is, you might know other kids that are the best kids around, and maybe they're drafting the WHL now. They're going to national camp, those kind of things. It doesn't necessarily mean anything right now. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy for you to pass them. Okay, but it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean they're going to play in the NHL. Doesn't mean they have a better chance to play in the NHL than you do, or a better chance to get a college scholarship than you do. Actually, the studies show that they may even have a weaker chance to make it, to excel really early. Okay, it's an important takeaway. So I want to lead from there into the point of this. I want you to understand development. I want you to understand where you are in the process. Okay, I want you to understand now what you can do about it, and what is important if you have goals like some of the goals written down here that I just saw. What is important for you? So I want to start that by saying what's not important. Okay, so I want to address a couple of development myths. Development myths that USA Hockey talks about this at their national conferences. What is an example of something that you guys, some other people, kids, parents, coaches, whoever else has been telling you, oh, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. It could be a development myth, you think. This is so important.
The harder you work, the better.
You think it's a myth? You don't think you have to work hard to get better?
No, but I mean, if you're like, let's say you do 20 reps of, I don't know, like weights. Weights.
Well, I think we were talking about the type of. I think we were talking about the type of training. I think we were talking about the type of training.
Yeah.
So maybe not skating lines with PP might not be the best thing for you. But what I mean here is a couple things we've kind of touched on. What are like some of the things when you're trying to figure out what team you're going to play for next year, or what you're going to do with yourself in hockey? What are some of the things that people tell you got to do, or they make fun of you for this or that? What kind of things do you think that you're told by friends or other people that you have to do this, you have to do that? Anyone ever been told that you have to play on the best team? You have to play on a winning team?
No.
Never been told that? Never heard that? Anyone else say that? No? Yeah, I hear that a lot. So I'm gonna write that. This is one of the development myths. Or you have to play AAA, or you have to play AA, for example, when you're whatever age.
T1.
So you have best team or highest level. That's the first myth. Okay. No one, if you make it to 20 years old and you're about to play college hockey for a Division I coach, do you think they're going to ask you what your record was when you're 12 years old? How many wins and losses you had? Or how
Yeah.
many goals and assists you had? Do you think so? They're not going to ask you. They don't care. Okay? They don't care how many state championships you won when you're 14 or 15. They don't care about any of those things. What's the only thing that they care about when they're looking at that kid to go to college there?
Season before.
Academics.
What?
The season before.
Did they
Character.
care about the record the season before? They only take the kids on the winning teams from the year before?
Their skill right now.
Character.
Well, okay, so character, grades, you have to have those. You have to have a good attitude. We're willing to coach. And that grade to be able to get into the school. You can't even, people won't be able to play. And it's how good you are right now, Daniel mentioned. How good the player is. They're not going to take a player who's not as good as the other guy because his team won more games the year before. They're going to take the best player. The best player is going to make the team because that's going to help the team be better. So your job is to become the best player you can be at this age group. That's all they care about. They don't care about anything else. So you do the things that are going to make, and maybe you play for the best team and you win the championship. That's great. We want to win every game we play. We want to win every championship. Of course we do. But the main thing is to become the best player you can be at that age group. So what are some things that could actually hurt you by playing for the best team or at the highest level? Let's say, you really think you need to play for the best team at the highest level. How could it hurt you? Yeah.
You get benched.
Yeah, right. So let's say you're a really good player, but the #1 team in the country wants you to play for them, but he says, hey, you're a good player, but we got a really good team, so we want you to play for us, but you're not going to play any games. You're going to sit on the bench, and I'll throw you some shifts every once in a while for up big. Is that going to help you become the best player at 20? Right? You might win that championship at 14 or 13, but it's not going to help you become any better player. Yeah.
If you're like on a really good team and you think that you're really good as well, and then you don't try.
Sure. Well, that can happen at any point, at any level, right? So your work ethic is always going to determine your result. But these are things that are kind of outside of your control. So, for example, if you don't get to play, so I'm going to give you another example, guys. How many of you guys? No one in here drives yet. Anyone in here drive yet? Drive on their own? One. So for the guys that don't have the driver's license yet, how many hours do you think in your life you've spent in the car with mom or dad?
436.
A lot, right? Okay, so do you think that any of you guys without driver's license, do you think if I went to your parents right now and I said, hey, can you borrow the keys and go down to the store and pick me up a sandwich, do you think they'd let you?
No.
They'd take the keys and go drive the car? Why can't you look how much time you've spent watching people drive cars. How come you can't drive a car?
Because you don't know how to.
I know how to drive.
What?
It's not legal.
It's more than that. So you don't learn.
As long as it's car.
People don't learn by watching. Okay? You don't learn by watching. You learn by doing. Okay? So being on a great team and sitting on the bench and watching them doesn't make you any better. Being on the AAA team instead of the AA team, or the first place team instead of the 5th place team, whatever, isn't going to make you any better by sitting there and watching. If you're on the best team and you're playing all the time, you get great coaching and you get to play all the situations, and they're great. That's awesome. But you don't make decisions compromising those other things if we don't get to play. You're here to play hockey, right? Number 2, we talked about it already. Second development myth. It was what I talked about with the WHL draft and the USA Hockey stats of the national camps. Number 2 is that you have to excel early. A lot of people think that they're in a rush, right? They have to be the best player when they're 13, 14. They have to be the best team. They have to be drafted in WHL. They have to go to this camp and that camp because they got to be seen and all those things. Have to excel early. So actually, like I said, the research suggests that actually excelling early could be a disadvantage. I'm going to read off some players, some draft ages of some players here for you guys. Okay? So we said the NHL draft is at 18, right? Okay? So Jamie Benn, anyone know who Jamie Benn is? He won, I think, the
That was
scoring trophy a couple years ago. Drafted in the 5th round. Datsuk, drafted in the 6th round. Zetterberg, drafted in the 7th round. Alfredson, drafted in the 7th round. Dustin Bufflin, drafted in the 9th round.
Flurry first round.
Anyone know Marty St. Louis?
Yeah, never drafted.
Undrafted. Kunitz, Chris Kunitz, undrafted. A number of others, Zuccarello, Johnson, Ward, those are all undrafted. So this is now, that means at 18, these players are 18 NHL draft. Okay? At 18, they have guys winning Hart Trophy, MVPs, scoring titles, Stanley Cups, gold medals, didn't even get drafted. No, not NHL team didn't even want them. They wanted to draft them, not even the 10th round. So that's at 18. They couldn't figure that out. So there's no way 14, 15, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, there's no way anyone can tell who's going to be the best players when you're 26 years old at those ages. So what I want you to understand is it's not a fixed thing. It's not you weren't the best player at 12, well, you're done. Okay, no one knows at 12, at 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. It's under your control. Okay, and you have a different development path, and it's your path to determine. Okay. So I'm going to finish with another exercise for you guys to do.
Is it complicated like the last
It's a
one?
little more complicated.
That one was like really complicated.
Okay. So I'm going to pass this around. You'll need pens again. And what this sheet is, you write your name on it again and pass it in. It's about your choices. Okay? So there's going to be there's 4 spots, and each has a percentage beside it. You're not going to include school and family because those 2 things have to come first, regardless. Okay? You're going to take the next 3 to 4 things that you spend your time doing. And to be honest, this is only for you. No one else needs to see it, except we'll pass it in. I'll look at it. But you're going to put the percentage of time you spend doing other things. So that could be playing hockey, that could be playing another sport, that could be playing Xbox, that could be going surfing, that could be going to the beach, it could be hanging out, whatever it is. I want you to estimate what the percentage of time you spend doing other things other than school and hockey or things. Okay? And number one is the most percent. So these are your priorities, other than school and family. Okay, so I pass those around. I'm going to give you 5 minutes by the time they get all the way around. So grab a pen and start and write your name on it, and we'll pass it in.
I like the signature.
I'll do this in front of me.
Don't let the contract on the other side say that you signed your life
Filming
away.
trees with me. All the like pen erasers. Oh, 4th one, just a bonus. Driving cars.
Video games. Oh, thank God Brian's not here.
Right next to it.
Most writing I've done in like 4 weeks.
Stuff you do.
Hockey's 50.
This is one for you guys. You shouldn't need to. You don't need to discuss it. It's your priorities. It's personal to you. Could be any percentages that. Just be honest for yourself. Yeah, hockey would be one all your activities. So hockey would be one for all you guys. You all play hockey. It could be a big percentage. It could be a small percentage, depending on what else you do in your life. So just not school or hockey. You don't need to put sleeping, and you don't need to put going to the bathroom. So that would be a lot for Jordan, I think, right?
What?
Going to the bathroom is a big part of your.
Yeah.
50%.
Important time of year.
Or eating. Don't put that.
We can put that?
Don't put that. Things like hockey, things like other sports, things, social activities, other things you spend your time doing, you know, surfing the internet, playing video
Surfing the
games,
internet.
Sliding
watching
into the DM.
movies, going to the beach, taking pictures, writing poetry.
Oh, I read poetry.
I used to. I got an award for it in middle school.
That's right.
Related to something.
Wait, does it have to be out of 100%?
Yes.
Oh, it does?
Like,
Well,
200.
To add up to 100. To add up to 100.
oh, crap. You know, like, reevaluating.
That's hard.
I was doing it out of the 100.
So I put 99.999.
Evaluate all my percentages.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Just point zero
I
zero
just gonna set like
point 0.001%.
I need to restart this.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
No, there's a lot of work.
Hockey, I do a lot of hockey.
Thank you.
We do a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyone else done?
No.
This is hard, adding anything up.
Only 64 million people play hockey. Wow. It's like out of 7 million people. Dang.
For you.
Oh, I forgot to put my name.
Are we supposed to put our name on it?
Yes, please.
Why would you have you put your name in Christian?
Done. Okay.
I did it out of 200%.
I have 39% left.
Your second hand, ready?
I put like 55%
On
of my
the
time
cat-
building video.
I didn't even put any.
No, you can't use the. You actually
That's half a star.
That's like 4%.
You know what's bad when you try to come up with
No, you have
ideas to
to-
fill out a
just start
chart?
with this, ready?
What you did. I was like,
One left.
it's like, wait, so it's
Done? Okay. Okay.
Wait, what else do I do?
So guys, all right. If you read the bottom,
I didn't know about
it says. It's bigger. It's mine. So that's why I was gonna read it to you guys. Over 1.64 million people play organized hockey in the world. Okay? Because
That's it?
so, but if you're competing for USHL spots, World Major Junior, Division I college, NHL, pro hockey in general, you're competing with the world because they'll take players from all over the world for all those leagues. Okay, so 1.64 million people. There's only 1,475 Division I NCAA spots, so 25 players times 59 schools, and there's 690 NHL spots, 23 players times 30 teams. So 1.64 million playing hockey, 690 NHL spots. Okay, you can use your calculator to figure out the percentage there. So if your goals are to play college hockey, to play NHL, to do those things, that's great. When your goals are whatever your goals. If your goals are just to play hockey with my friends and then play hockey when I'm older and maybe coach my own kids in hockey one day or coach my next kids, that's great too. Whatever, it's your path. It's your path. Whatever your goals are, that's fine. But what I wanted you to understand from today's presentation is that it's not fixed. It's not decided at 10 years old or 12 years old who the players are going to make the NHL are, who the best players are. You have 12 years, 10, 12 years left of your development. So, did anyone see in that first video, did you see when the players were walking down the stairs, what it said above the stairs there? Anyone see what it said?
60 minutes, no excuse.
That was one thing, that's a different thing.
To take responsibility in your
Take responsibility for your development. So one of the things you'll see if you look in the skill book about this age group, 14, 16, 18 years old, it talks about, and now it's time to take responsibility for your development. Your parents can't force you to come and go in the backyard and shoot pucks. or play hockey. Your coach, you're here, even with our program, we've increased our training hours by a lot. You're here 4 hours plus some training, 6 hours a week, some games, 6-7 hours a week with coaches. It's not nearly enough if your goals are that. If your goals are playing college hockey, it's not nearly enough. You're competing with 1.64 million people. So the priority list is a way to understand. I want you to understand that if that is your goal, first of all, don't be afraid of it. That's great. If it isn't, that's okay too. You just want to be the best player you can be and have fun, that's fine too. But if that is your goal, first understand that it's possible, that no one knows right now who's it's going to be, so it's possible for anyone. I can't tell you that it's going to be you sitting here or the guy who's the #1 rated player in the WHL draft this year. He doesn't have much more chance to make it than you do at this point. So take responsibility for that. Who's going to work hard over the next 12 years to get there? It's a long time. It's not just one summer or one season, wherever it's, and when you're at the rink with your team, it's all the time. So when you do your priority list, you understand there's only 100%, you only have 100% of your time. Okay, so if hockey is 60% of your extra time or 50% of your extra time, and now you're going to, do something extra, play a franchise mode of whatever, in NHL 15 or something like that, and it's going to take 3 hours a day, that's cutting out of that time. If you're going to add some other activity or something, that's cutting out of that time. And again, that's all okay, but if that's your ultimate goal, you just have to understand those decisions and those priorities. Okay? So I'm going to end with one more video. So it's empowering, guys, because to realize that wherever you are now, it's possible. It's possible to achieve any of those goals that you write down. But it's also scary because it puts the responsibility back on you. Is this decide if you're going to put in the work in. And the reason why the biggest reason why a lot of those kids that don't make it back and don't make it back and don't make it back, is the other kids that want it more and are working harder than them for years. Okay, so I'm going to end with, is there anyone Red Wings fan in here?
Nope.
Boo.
Anyone, Leafs the best team in the world, right? Everyone knows that.
Boo.
You know it.
Everyone knows that.
Dad, raise
So
your hands.
the Leafs got the best coach now, Babcock, and then the best up and
$50
coming,
million.
the most sought after up and coming coach that everyone wanted, but the Red Wings wouldn't give them permission to talk to was the minor league coach for Detroit Red Wings. They didn't know his name. He just got named head coach of the Red Wings. Jeff Blashill. Jeff Blashill. You'll start to hear more about him soon. And this is a speech that he gave at the training camp of the AHL. So John, can you
NHL or AHL?
AHL. This is before he got the Red Wings job.
Guys,
So guys, the volume's not great, so please let everyone hear.
Your path and what you have to do if you want it enough, if you have the talent enough. What is your path to make sure, one, you get there? Well, let's not just concentrate on getting there. What about being a star when you're there? What about playing for 20 years? What about having that be a long-term occupation for you? Somebody's getting passed and somebody's passing somebody. I guarantee it, as I watch this in 2 years. If you think you're entitled to something, you're in the wrong business. If you guys sitting here and you take an attitude in life and you're entitled to success, I'm going to tell you right now, you're in the wrong business for sure. You have the inner drive to show up every single day even when you don't feel good. I'm a huge believer that greatness is a daily choice. Every single day you wake up and either take a couple steps towards being great or you take a couple steps away from being great. Every single day. Every single day. There's guys in this room right now who are listening and are saying, you know what, it's probably the other one. And I get up and outwork all the guys in this room. Earn what you get in life. You wake up every morning, you take steps towards greatness or you don't. Period.
So it's good. Yes, sir. some takeaways there, a couple things he mentioned. He talked about your path, everyone's path is different. Okay, one other thing he mentioned, I see a lot of the goals there, I see like playing in the NHL, play college hockey, those kind of things. He says, well, what about when you get there? Maybe do you want to play maybe you want to play 4 years of college hockey, maybe you want to play 20 years in the NHL, you want to be an NHL All-Star, you have big goals like that. Don't be afraid to have them, write them down and strive towards them. And then he talked about guys, someone's passing someone, so the top rated guy there, they even know at the minor league camp, top rated guy there might get passed by someone else who's working harder than them. They say greatness is a daily choice. So if you go around here and you think in your mind, if you wrote down on there that you want to play NHL or you want to play college hockey, ask yourself if you were the hardest working person on the ice today, every single drill. Ask yourself if you're the hardest working person in the gym every single time. And a practice on Wednesday in January when you just got back from a road trip and you had school and you stayed up all night doing homework and trying to catch up and you're tired and your mom's been getting mad at you for not cleaning your room and blah, 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 all this stuff, and you come to practice, are you still the hardest working person on the ice? Because if you're not the hardest working person every single time in Southern California on one team, right, there's kids in Sweden, there's kids in Finland, there's kids in Canada that want more, right? So understand what your goals are and start to understand what it takes and start to take responsibility for that. Thank you guys, that's all. You have about, you have